Is this thing on? So, trying out a stream to YouTube. I haven't streamed to YouTube before, so I'm figuring out how it works. And yeah, just getting it set up here. So bear with me while I get this sent out and make sure that people know I'm doing it. Now let's see. Gotta grab the link. Now, for some reason... Oh, that was just the thumbnail. All right. Do. Now I gotta figure out how I can see the chat and all that too, because all the setup is kind of different in small but meaningful ways. All right. So I'm going to fire up a game of TFT. And just noticed I'm getting memed on Twitter for my Proving Grounds predictions, which are already proving to be pretty bad. But that's okay. All right, we'll queue up a TFT game. Now, yeah, if you're hanging out, say hi in the chat. Let me know you're here. Happy to do some Q&A and just talk about Lock-In and stuff or whatever, or talking about the season ahead. And this is definitely an experiment, so, let me know how it's going for you, how the YouTube stream viewing experience is. I've just getting some interaction on the players memeing me for predicting them low in Proving Grounds and then having them win. They want me to predict them high next time. They may not know that my predictions have a reputation for being pretty curse-worthy. They just might not know. All right, now let me make sure I'm going to capture the... That's not right. Oh, there we go. Where do I want to move my head to? Probably... Yeah, we'll see. I'll pop myself down here for now. And then I'll move it where needed. Let's just see it. Hey. Am I going to go over some of the predictions people made for the Lock-In tournament? Like in kind of the contest, the forum? Yeah, maybe a little. maybe after this game. Can talk about that a bit. Enjoy betting on Lolly Sports games. Hi, Max. This is the first time I've ever seen a major regions games not be available to bet on. You could even bet on Demacia Cup games. Yeah, it might just be that it's very unpredictable. Although I think Demacia Cup and Kespa Cup are also quite volatile. It might be that. It might also just be that they don't think the market's going to be big enough. I don't really know. I'm not big in kind of the betting space, so I don't really know. Oglethorpe asks if I'm open to answering questions about data science. Yeah, sure, to the extent that I can. Haven't watched all the content. Don't know if you talked about this already. What do you think the finals of Lock-In looks like? I think everybody's saying 100 Thieves and EG, and I think so as well. So that's what kind of makes sense to me. Yeah, thought I'd try out YouTube. So, in case you haven't been on top of some of the other things I've been doing, I've been kind of focusing quite a bit on YouTube lately. I've, putting out a lot more videos, trying to promote it. The growth has been pretty good. I've been encouraged by the, number of subscribers showing up, the consistent number of views on videos. And here, let me turn on just some quiet gameplay audio. It's probably going to be too quiet to be worthwhile, but this is a pretty good start for what I want. I'm playing Kog'Maw Reroll because I can play it in my sleep, and I want to talk and hang out with you guys. Let me just shift my. Oh, that would make my face very small. Maybe I don't want to make it that small. Yeah, this will be fine. What was I saying? I don't necessarily want to do rune ends on Cog, but I could. Ooh, these are not good augments. Oh well, I don't want to think about it too hard. Oh, and there's a Kog'Maw. All right then. Cool. I do like Duckbill. Yeah, EG 100 Thieves. I think it's, you don't really know what you're going to get out of these teams, but I think they are two teams that I already have high opinions of, and they're playing close to their starting rosters, if not their exact starting rosters, depending on what 100 Thieves want to do with like Tenacity Someday and subs and all that kind of stuff. So I was talking about YouTube, why I'm focusing on YouTube. It's an evening stream. My brain is like so clean and smooth in the evening. Smooth in the wrong sense. Got it. I've even been like today I enabled channel memberships, and so I'm kind of leaning into the whole YouTube approach, and I think unifying things in a single platform, not entirely, but a little bit more, I think has seemed like a good approach. And so doing a stream on YouTube, see how that goes. I'm going to try, especially for longer form content, releasing those as premieres and letting people kind of watch them together and chat and stuff like that. And so, and I think that that's kind of fun with the YouTube memberships because you get like the emojis and stuff. So like in chat, I can put in emojis like Tim Champ. Here are all the emojis that I have so far uploaded. These are the ones I have in so far. How good do you think TL is with and without their full roster? Oh, so close to 10. It's okay though. I think TL with their full roster is going to be really good. Top 3 team. I believe I power ranked them first. I think if everything works out together, they'll be really, really good. If they are without Core JJ, like for Lock-In, if they have Hansama and Core J or Hansama and Ayla, and that's the only change, I think they'll be like, they should make top 4, but I wouldn't see it as guaranteed. And not because Ayla is worse, but I've also, like, since doing the power rankings, My opinions of where Bjergsen's going to be by the end of the year are quite different from my opinion of where Bjergsen's going to be for Lock-In tournament. So I think that's a pretty decent factor in it. Jesse Garcia. From what I can tell, the summer split should have a pretty hype contest between Immortals, Golden Guardians, and CLG for the last playoff slot. The overall level of the LCS this year seems high. So if we're talking, summer has 8 teams go to playoffs, but I assume you're talking about 6. Because I think all 3 of those will be in playoffs for summer since it's top 8 teams. But yeah, in terms of who will be 6th out of them, it could be any of the 3, honestly. My opinion will vary over time. At this point, the only way TL don't get first is massive communication issues. I don't think that's the only way. I think there are a couple of teams that could exceed TL just by sheer development and skill. I think Under Thieves could. I think EG could. I think Cloud9 could. What do I want here? I do not want that armor because it would get me in big trouble. It would merge my Kog'Maws. Otherwise, I would want the armor. I think TL could also drop off on their own part if Bjergsen doesn't get back to form. I think Bwipo and Santorin are good players, but I don't think either of them are great players. And if there could be some issues there. And I'm personally more excited to see Hans and Ayla because, I want to see what Ayla can do to a certain extent, and I want to also see Hans in NA and see how he matches up. I think that I'm more excited about that. Jan, I think I'm more excited about Ayla as kind of a quote-unquote prospect than I am about Jan. But, I think Jan is worth seeing as well. I think he's got some really good qualities. If TL want to win in Lock-In, they should play Core JJ. Or if TL want to win in Spring, they should play Core JJ over Hansama. I think I agree with that, but I'm not entirely certain. I think there's a chance that Hans and Ayla would perform better over time than Jan and Core, but it depends a lot on Jan and Ayla and how will they come in. Thick Buddha says, wondering your thoughts on Sniper. I think he's doing very well for his basically first competitive tourney. Yeah, no, I think he's doing quite well. I think you can see some things when you watch him closely, and I haven't been watching him closely every game, only in a few of them, but you can definitely see some things where it's like, okay, there's some needs here on what he has to work on and stuff, but also that team as a whole has some very clear needs in their macro and their coordination, their map reads that need a lot of work. So that makes it a little bit hard, for me at least, to pick things out about him, but watching him, what he's coming out of lane with, the way he's team fighting, all that, yeah, I think he's looked really good. But I will have to take a much closer, dedicated view of a bunch of his games to kind of back that up. I think the Hans Sama acquisition has been talked about a little less, partly because it's narratively overshadowed by Bjergsen, partly because if you follow my content, I tend to talk a lot more about rookies and young players, and that's just a bias on my part. But no, Hans Sama is a huge deal, and I think he should and will get spoken of quite a bit. And yeah, like Jonathan is saying, there's been so much stuff in this offseason overall to discuss that yeah. Great stories get overshadowed by amazing stories. All right, push me over 40 here. Yeah, I've got some good TL merch. I enjoy it. Some stuffies, some hoodies, jersey. 100x needs to work on a lot, but they make it fun. Yeah, I mean, amateur in general is fun. That's one of the great things about amateurs. Amateurs, you know the games are going to be entertaining no matter what. I don't mind tanking a lot of health at the start here. I guess I'm covering my health box. I'm down at 70, which isn't great, but it's fine. Do I make Quicksilver on Kog'Maw this early? I don't know. Who's my dream NA super team disregarding contracts, etc. Imports already in NA are eligible. So just using like existing LCS players. Impact, Spica. I'm going to call Core JJ an import because right now he is. Impact, Spica. In bot lane, I would probably want Hansama, Core JJ, and Jojo Pion. Impact, Spica, Jojo Pion, Hansama, Core JJ. We'll say that. Could be Abadaga, FBI, Core JJ. Kog'Maws. Don't really need this Caitlyn, so if I don't win, I'm going to sell it. What do you think will be the most important factor for C9 to start off on the right foot and do well in lock-in? It's a lot. You could call it a lot of faith in Jojo, or you could call it a lot of excitement for wanting to see him in a situation where he can do well. Most important factor for C9 to start off on the right foot. I mean, I think for any of these teams, meta read is a really big deal. Meta read and like how they prioritize like objectives versus farm, and like how they just use their pathing and laning. I think just like having game plans that take good advantage of the current game state will be the biggest thing. I think they've got enough skill to make a deep run. I always wondered, is the Oracle's Elixir business a side project for you, or does it pay the bills significantly? So I need to look at these augments first. I think this is a good one for me. Stand United is okay. Do I want health to regen, or do I want more damage up front? I want the health to regen. So I pay the bills. Oops. Spent an extra roll there by accident. I pay the bills with a variety of things. Content is part of it. Whether it's my own content that, makes some money. Whether it's, content like when I was doing it for Travis, I was getting paid for that. That's why I was on his channel. He gets it on his channel, gets the revenue from that and sells the sponsorships. I get paid a flat rate per episode. So I was doing that, but of course, that run it is ended for now. But most of my income comes from like consulting work and development work. Oracle's Elixir itself has never made me more, like in a direct sense, it's never made me more than like $5 a month on ads, because I'm trying out a little bit more ads on the site, and I don't feel great about it, and it hasn't really made a big difference, but I was curious like what the numbers would be. So I'm going to let it run at least a little bit of the part of at the start of the year when traffic goes up, and just see what the numbers look like. But I've never used Oracle's Elixir, the website, as a direct moneymaker, really. But it has been huge for me in building a brand, getting my name out there, having people know who I am and what I do, and how well I can do it. And so that has led to a lot of jobs in, whether I'm doing a product management or, actually coding different projects or whatever it is, running data science for companies, whether it's full-time stuff or right now I'm mostly doing a combination of different kind of part-time consulting things. That's where I end up paying most of the money. So, yeah, Oracle's Elixir is not really a direct money maker for me. But if the YouTube growth continues to go up, that'll be a larger and larger proportion of what I spend my time on. Definitely need this tankiness. I'm rolling pretty well here. Not so good there, but I'm itemizing very slowly. I I think I might need this for the cast stem, but we'll see. Power of Evil is an import still, yeah. Sorry, I've missed a few things. HOJ is good, yeah. I think I could put that on the Kog'Maw. I mean, honestly, I could do that and then put the Runaans as well. And maybe I should, but I'm also not thinking very hard about it right now. Remember people flaming me on Reddit for being so excited about JoJo? Yeah. JoJo's ceiling is multiple MVPs over the next 3 years. Sorry, Ignacio, I took a while to see your comment. Wondering how bad do you think it would be for 100 Thieves if they don't win Lock-In? Depends what roster they bring. If they have their full starting 5 and they don't win, then I think it's not a huge deal because it's just the start of the year. But it would be kind of like, oh, you guys were supposed to win it. But it's not really a big deal. I don't think they care that much. It's more about how they're feeling and how well they performed. The result, if they look terrible and don't win it, then maybe that's an issue. But where and how did you learn the data science and coding you use, and how did you decide you wanted to apply that to League? So there's a combination of things. Coding. I mean, I haven't consistently done a ton of coding throughout my life, but when I was a really young kid, I remember my dad teaching me some basic principles in coding BASIC on his Amiga. So I know this comp is called me losing quite badly. So I knew basic things about coding, as a 5-year-old, but that didn't really mean anything. As a teenager, I started teaching myself HTML, CSS. I made a couple blogs, things like that. Taught myself some PHP. Actually, I built my own little content management system, and I just did that as a hobby in my bedroom. That was probably 16, 17. And then didn't do a whole lot with it for a while. Of course, I did lots of stuff with spreadsheets and all of that. But that was kind of my coding basis was I know some of the patterns and the thought processes here. I never did any formal training in it. I got to figure out what I'm doing with my items here. Okay, I think I do want to go after some good items here because I got to start winning. I'm just deciding between a gargoyles or a bramble vest. I'm going to go with the gargoyle. In university, so I have a master's degree in sociology, and I focused a lot of my efforts on research methods, including statistical analysis. And so, in terms of data science, I use the term data scientist because it's convenient and useful and, buzzwordy. And so it's beneficial for me, but I consider myself a statistician more than a data scientist. Data scientist people tend to use that when they are programmers who started using machine learning algorithms, but they don't necessarily have statistical training or backing. What am I not going to try to finish here, Caitlin? So I've done a lot of multivariate modeling and so on. Oh, come on. I can't sell the Kog'Maw. The Graves is not that important. And there's another one. I need to combine something. There we go. So yeah, I've done a lot of multivariate modeling and things like that through my formal education. Then I've done market research professionally, and a lot of that. And then applying that to League came from just being passionate about League esports, seeing kind of a need in the community, figuring out how to gather the data. And honestly, the analysis is relatively simple. Even the more complex things I do with win probability modeling and rating systems and stuff like that is relatively simple. So it's not like it uses any of the really advanced stuff that I learned, relatively speaking. But the coding and all of that came in, and building Oracle's Elixir and React from the ground up and all that. I'd never done any front end development and not really any JavaScript either. But I just since I knew the principles of it, I just spent time on it in the time that I had available. I'm probably going to lose here pretty quick, by the way, but that's okay. Is there any game data I wish I could get from the API that I can't at the moment? I think getting second-by-second positional stuff and being able to like 2D model things, or like 2D map things would be nice. Being able to heat map things, but hello, Christopher Chang. I am doing great. What do I think JoJo's floor is? I think JoJo's floor is like a bottom half LCS mid laner for a couple of years. I do think 100 Thieves is a good team. I think FBI is really good, and he knows how to work well with him. I think all of their players are minimum, like, solid mid-level players, and then a couple of them know how to be really good stars. How good do I think Fudge will be by the playoffs in comparison to other mids? If you're talking spring playoffs, Kyle, I really don't know. You know, I think I want to make a Sunfire here because I have no other anti-heal right now. It's so hard to say. I think he'll probably be like a mid-range kind of mid, like a 5th, 6th in the league, maybe 4th kind of thing. But he could definitely be higher than that, and he could be lower than that. Like, I have not seen him play mid lane, so how can I project that? That's the real challenge here. I can only go on little bits and pieces I've heard about what he's doing in solo queue, or, you know, you get the percolations through the scene of, oh, his scrims are great or terrible or something, and you never really know what any of that means at this point. So it's effectively speculation. I'm so close to losing that I just have to do this right now. Ogma. Nope. Oh well. When do I think all the teams will be complete? I think just about all of them will be complete by the start of actual spring split, like 3 weeks from now. I have to think, but I don't really know. How do you think Tenacity will perform out of the gate in lane? I don't think he's going to have the same curve that Fudge had, where it started off much lower than I knew he could be and then climbed. Man, this is like the worst Kog'Maw game I've had in a long time. I think he'll start higher than Fudge did in Lock-In, but I'm not sure he'll probably, like, Fudge never performed that well in lane and LCS for most of the year. Sharpshooter is good for me here. And a level 3 gives in another Kog'Maw. Yeah. Well, that was lucky. I might be okay for a couple of rounds. What's my TFT rank? Right now I'm gold 2, but I haven't been playing for a while. I'm usually like mid-plat. I like to pick like 2 or 3 comps that I'm comfortable playing and then just autopilot them mostly on my phone most of the time. I'll level after Raptors. Thank you, Henry. My favorite kind of sandwich? Maybe a beef dip. Hard to go wrong with a good BLT, but probably a beef dip. So from here, now that I've hit everything I want, I need to put a Malzahar in. And then, but I'm pretty much, like, I've power spiked. As soon as my Malzahar is in, I have power spiked really hard. Hey, there it is. And now I just hope it carries me a bit, but I'm way too low for what I should be. I should have, like, at least 40 health right now. So I have something, you guys, once this game is over, that I'm going to need you to help me with, which is, I think, since I got my first couple of channel supporters today, people who are paying the monthly subscription on it, I think that since I have those, that unlocked a couple more emoji slots for me, and so I need you guys to help me pick which ones to we're going to go to 7 next round. Which ones to slot in? I showed you before which 4 I've picked so far. But I'm not sure which ones to add. And of course, if anybody wishes to, they can gain access to those emojis by supporting the channel yourself. But oh yeah, why am I not putting items in? I'm just not thinking. Yeah, I think I like putting. I'd like to put this on the graves probably. No, I want to have. Yeah, I'll save some money and just put another Arcanist for now. But I want to have a completed item on the Cassidus, so I might do the Banshee's Claw and then put him on the front line. Or do I do the Thief's Glove on the Garen? Yeah, no, I think this will be more valuable. Thank you, Papa. And Howie, thank you for the positive feedback. Are there any amateur players you didn't know before that have managed to catch your attention so far? Yeah, I mean, I haven't been watching that many amateur games that closely so far. I've been kind of like tuning in and kind of skimming them. I think Faisal from EGP has stood out more than I expected him to. He was like, when I heard that they had signed him, I'm like, yeah, no, he seemed like he was going to be interesting next year, but I wasn't sure yet. And I just gotta, I don't know whether I put it depends what item I get from the carousel. But like, he's put out much bigger numbers and things than I would have expected, and like, he's drawn my attention over to the monitor more often. So I wouldn't say it's like I hadn't heard of him before, but he's forcing me that I have to go and now watch some of his games. Yeah, he had a huge Gangplank game today for sure. Trying to think of who else has kind of like really caught me. I know a lot of people in the Oracle's Elixir Discord have been watching a little more closely than I have and like shouting out people who are jumping out to them. I'm not sure if the Cinnamon Toast thing, if they were mostly going on that and like a hey, let's all get behind this guy. He's got a great name and we're all going to get excited together, or whether he, how much his play was actually earning it. I don't actually know. But I like the Malzahar, and I like, this could be pretty good for the Cassidon, I think. I like the Malzahar because then I can go with the 2 Arcanists. Like I can get a better second Arcanist, but I didn't even check what the mutant bonus was this game. Not the best. Whatever. And also just like, I could put Mundo in the corner too, but like spreading the map seems beneficial. I don't know. I'm probably wrong. Is the lobby full or can I join next game? No, I'm playing ranked. This is how seriously I take ranked, that I'll just throw on a game and like pay 25% attention to it while streaming. Have I thought about working as an analyst for an org? So I started Oracle's Elixir in 2015. I worked for Fnatic in the summer as a volunteer in 2015. And that, I started before the summer split, and, we went all the way to semifinals of Worlds, I believe, that year. And since then, I've done projects for teams, but never been in a team. The Fnatic thing was interesting because, like, at that point, teams might have one paid analyst, and that was it. And those analysts were getting paid relatively kind of like peanuts, right? And for several years after that, I've always, when people ask me this question, I've always said, why am I not rolling, by the way? Oh, well. I've always said, A, I'm never moving to LA, and that holds back a lot of things. And B, analysts don't get paid. I'm not a coach, and analysts, plus I'd have to be in LA, and analysts don't get paid enough for me to support my family. I believe that has changed in the past year or two. I think I could make enough money to support my family as an analyst now, or as a developer, somebody building tools for teams, things like that. It's something that I've thought about. It's somewhere like I really like the combination of things I'm doing, the freedom and independence I have. I like kind of the role as kind of a a content creator and being able to hype up talent and all that kind of stuff. But it's not something that I kind of would close the door on. And I think the scene is in a much better position for it now with, remote work for kind of an analyst / developer role being a thing that can happen more and more. Do I want the Vex more than I want I think I want the Vex more than I want the Lux. I like how it can kind of like pseudo tank over here. Sure, why not? We'll throw it on the Graves. So, yeah. We'll see. Right now, like, I don't have any pressure to, like, pursue something like that, but I would love to go out and be, feel that I had helped something, that helped a team win a title and things. I think I go back and forth on whether I would be valuable, how many teams or which teams I'd be. I might be out here. Nope. Say, look, when you power spike this comp, like I've had 7 health for 7 or 8 rounds now. When you power spike this comp, it's just so good. It doesn't seem like it should be. And now I want to have a Jace or a Fiora if I have to. Go for the Enforcer thing. I don't love it, but oh well. What was I saying? I don't remember. What was the reasoning behind the teleport change? I mean, I don't know exactly. I'm sure they said it in some dev blogs. Oh, this is probably it. Yeah. I think it's a 3rd, right? Oh, 4th. Rip. I think they just wanted, they didn't like all the giant parties in bot lane with top laners TPing down there and how much it decided games early. I think that's the big thing. Yeah. The fact that, like, if I had been at like 30 health even at the point where I was 7 when I kind of completed the comp, then I probably would have gotten 2nd or probably a 3rd. So I need some help. I need to decide which emojis to add. Now, where are those again? Yeah, removing teleport might lead to more topside action. I mean, we're having a team fight at Rift Herald almost every game anyways. But if you're just in that area of the map, maybe. I haven't been watching enough games in, like I should be watching, or if I had more time, I would have been watching more LCK and LPL to get a better sense of how it's changing it. It just seems like top lane is a little bit more on an island. How does it feel to have the oldest audience in esports? I mean, I think it's fitting. I'm one of the oldest people in esports, right? So if you take the median, if you take the mean, I definitely kind of stand out more on the far right edge of the curve. There we go. All right, edit my emoji. So I've got Tim Champ, Tim Think, Tim Cool, and Tim Temple. Oh, I can add 2 more? So which ones should I add? Now some popular ones. So if you're in the Discord, then you'll know. And let me look at what's there. I think Tim Thumb is always a good one. I like that one. It's very positive. Do I have Tim Temple in? Yeah, I do. Tim Scream can be fun, not quite as positive. Tim Thumb Down, yeah, sure, why not? Again, not as positive. And we'll put that one in there too. Which emojis should I add? Actually, I think I might only be able to add 1 more right now. I need 3 more members to be able to go to the next one after that. I'm going to poke my head into DraftKings here and see whether they've set things up to set my lineup. Yeah, draft now. Maybe I'll do that too. Yumi is 90% pick ban in LCK. Oh boy. So like, Jinx is a big deal. Caitlyn's a big deal. I think Aphelios as well. Like bot lane in general seems to be like in winning lane in bot lane. Obviously, since you can't get TP'd on, it's really good. Seems like, you know, active ganking junglers are good. Xin Zhao, I've seen Jarvan. Seen some Trundle. Seeing Jace, yeah, Jason top lane. Some people doing tanks, some people doing Jace Graves. Ooh, 5-head is winning it so far. See, I like the concept of the 5-head one. I don't love the execution I have on it so far. But yeah, Lee Sin, of course, fits that profile. Let me see if I can grab my my monitor view for doing. Yeah, there we go. Just making sure there's going to be nothing on the screen here that I don't want to be. Okay, I think we're good. There are some people, or maybe just one person in the Oracle's Elixir Discord who keeps pushing me to have a Tim Ayaya emoji, but I actually tried taking one, and it was like, no, this looks terrible. So I just don't think it's going to happen. But do I have any predictions of who will be high pick ban in NA? I mean, yeah, I kind of spoke to some of those champions right now, but yeah, the ganking, the fast going ganking junglers, Lee Sin, Jarvan, and so on. Hey, Pony Slay Station, thank you for the Poro tier sub. Show off those emojis. Yeah, we're gonna see like Caitlyn Lux. We're gonna see maybe some Lulu. We're gonna see Aphelios Thresh still. Hello, C.E. Barnett. Where does magic come from? Magic comes from one of the many hobbies that I have thrown myself into over the years, which was learning sleight of hand. So I don't know if I can pull out a deck of cards on stream and do anything useful with it, but like, you know, playing with my ring, it's not really sleight of hand, but it's fun stuff like that. Is there anything I could do? I do keep decks of cards in various places around the house or in my laptop bag to play with. I don't think there's anything I can do that would like impress you as a trick. I mean, I can do a one-handed cut. Can you even see that when I do it? It's not a magic trick. Is there anything I could do? Maybe. Give me a minute here. Let me... So I kind of have... Can I do a double lift? Yeah, I remember there was a video once where Double Lift explained where his name came from. And giant leaks, you're not supposed to say that. Okay, never mind. It's all over the internet anyways. And then he performed a double lift, and it was so awkward, and I feel bad, but like it was not good. Let's see. I'm trying to see. I'm just fiddling with something at the moment. Whether I can point a different camera more down at my hands here or not. I don't know. Bear with me a moment. Boy, that's awkward. Oh. I think I've got it. Yeah. We're in business. Hey? The lighting and the color won't be the greatest, but here, let me change some things in my monitors here. Have I shared my thoughts on the Riot stats team moving stats to 8 and 14 minutes? Not like in a big way, but like I think it's interesting, and I'm going to keep my eyes on it. Tim Fivehead won the poll, by the way. We're going to end it there. It's not changing anymore. So I'll add that in a minute. Is the double lift where Victor makes him disappear? Nah, this is the double lift. This is not the double lift. Nah, I'm not going to do that. Double lift is where you take... Oh, now it's all blurry. The autofocus is messed up. You take the top card on the deck, which happens to be the Ace of Spades, which is just a great card for tricks, and you just change it. That's a double lift. I'm doing too many things at once here. The 8 and 14 minutes thing, I think in principle it does make sense. It hurts the kind of backwards compatibility of what we've gotten used to and all that kind of stuff. It'll take some adjustment. We'll see where it goes. But I'm keeping my eyes and ears open to it. And we'll see. I'm not planning right away to add it to Oracle's Elixir. If it really does get adopted and people really like it and they start asking for it, I can add it. It's not that much work. But yeah. What else could I show you here? Actually, there's something else I've been meaning to do for a while. And I'm just going to grab it and do it. Sorry, I'm looking for something and I don't know where it went. Am I a magician? Depends how loosely you use the definition. Where's my... Tell you what, I'm almost as much of a magician as I am a data scientist, which is to say, well, no, I'm more of a data scientist because I actually have I have statistical training, but in education. Do I work in a studio or from home? This is my home office. Where in the world did I put those? So what I'm looking for is, at one point I bought a deck of cards that was all completely blank, so that you can like put whatever you want on them. But I don't know where they went. Oh well, I'm rather miffed, but... Anybody that I can convince to get into Academy is a big win. Will that stay? I'm trying to think if there's anything else I can show you just for the fun. I spoke a little bit to like where I learned data science, but not really what tools. So, like I was saying before, I have a master's degree in sociology with a lot of focus on statistical analysis, quantitative research. In terms of tools I use, if I'm like working out a model, if I'm doing some like multivariate modeling or whatever, and I'm working it out and kind of testing stuff, evaluating the effectiveness of the models. I do a lot of stuff in Stata because I have a copy of that from when I was a student and I am comfortable with it. When I'm productionalizing something, I use Python generally. All my data gets stored in MariaDB or MySQL, but it could be other things. Do I prefer working outside the scene and maintaining a third-party website and community, or would I prefer to parlay this into a job inside? I really like what I do right now and just the balance and variety of it, but I would consider working inside a team, maybe on the broadcast side, but I'd probably want to be talent or maybe a producer, not like stats for broadcast. But no, I enjoy what I'm doing right now. What is something else I could do for you guys where the angles would not be too bad? Those angles are bad. So I'm taking a look at my other monitor to see what you guys would be seeing. Now, see, most of the magic I can do involves doing it in person for somebody, not doing it on camera. So I don't think I really got anything to show here, unfortunately. Do I work with things like Tableau and Power BI? Not really. If I'm going to build data visualizations, I'd probably just code it all up in React. I've done a little bit of charting with React charting libraries, not much. Obviously, most of the stuff on Oracle's Elixir is in tables. But yeah, I'd probably build custom charts and just do it all kind of manually. I like having that kind of control. I've played a little bit with Power BI. I have poked into Tableau once or twice, and they're cool, but since I am fairly comfortable coding, I would just code it. If I could work on the LCS broadcast, would I even as a guest? Yeah, absolutely. I've been on Academy analyst desks. I've been on amateur tournament analyst desks. Really enjoyed it. Lots of fun. I like to think that I am decent at it. So no, I'd love to have a spot. It would only be as a guest, because I'm never moving to LA. But I would love to make some showings, do some content, do even some shoulder content, stuff like that. Now, I said I was going to add that other emoji, and so I am. And then, and then I was also planning to... Did I not have that tab open? Oh, yeah, there it is. And then I'm going to build a DraftKings lineup for tomorrow. Tim Fivehead. What an abomination. I'm not sure if it'll work right away. All right, Caleb. Have a good night. Nope, it's not working right away. Do I care for the Wild Rift Pro Scene at all? I haven't played it. I play TFT on mobile, but I have not played Wild Rift on mobile. But no, it seems interesting. I think mobile is like a really big community, from what I can tell. Yeah, there's League of Legends and DraftKings. And if I get this set up right, and go back to where I had it queued up. So, tomorrow is Group A. Every team is playing 2 games. I wish that 5-head emoji would show up right away, but it does not seem to have. Oh well. So, we want to look for, obviously, teams that are going to win and teams that are going to fight a lot. So if I'm just going to predict out these games, I think 100 Thieves are the clear favorite in the group. I think TSM, since they're playing the Academy roster, I would not put faith in them. I'm curious, do they have... Yeah, they have the correct players at TSM. Good for them. Golden Guardians with this lineup are not going to win. So it's like Cloud9 or FlyQuest is where we go on the second one. I like to look at the team tab and see kind of where how they've ranked them out. So like, would I have enough room to build a 100 Thieves plus FlyQuest lineup? There are much more structured ways to do this. I'm not like a hardcore DFS guy who like automates everything and models it all out. I try to have some more fun with it, but let's see if we can build 100 Thieves FlyQuest, because we're not going to be able to build 100 Thieves plus Cloud9. They're the 2 top teams. If we went with that, if we captain, say, the jungle. Now, it's been mentioned that, a lot of these teams are trying out different things, whether they don't have players available or might try other players. Now, 100 Thieves, they'll probably give Tenacity a bunch of time, right? And they also have Kenvi, who's a really big piece for them, and I have no idea. But I have this like weird feeling they might give Kenvi a game here or there, and if so, that makes Closer really risky to pick. I mean, it should be Closer playing. There's been no real, like, obviously they haven't said anything. There's been no real indication otherwise. But, like, if I was them, I would consider putting Kenvi in for some of the games. Do I factor that into my DFS choices? Yeah, maybe. Maybe I run a lineup with Closer and a lineup without Closer. Man, I don't know. So FlyQuest are playing TSM and C9. So it's that FlyQuest C9. Basically, whoever you think is going to win this game, you should put them in your lineup. And also who you think might be picked a little bit less, so that if they do win, you're going to be more likely to rank highly, right? Can I captain mid? Probably not. Can I captain jungle? Probably. Let's try it and let's see how much money we end up with. I'm going to avoid any of the positions where I think it's going to be... Oh yeah, but if I do jungle, then I have to play closer. Man. Let's try this and see what we end up with. Wow, we got a lot of space if we do that. What if we do, like, this? We have space for that? Why do we have space for that? Because I have 5 FlyQuest people, and that's why. So $700 to move up to 100 Thieves in one of these spots. See, this is an interesting option. FBI captain is the best captain slot in this contest. Kumo, because I'm, there's a pretty good chance somebody in Tenacity get 1 game each, or Tenacity gets both, or someday, like anything could happen with them there. Jose, because if closer does play, he's going to be a really good pick, but I just have this weird feeling. And here's the thing. If I knew there was a chance Kenby was going to play, I wouldn't be talking about this at all. I'd just be avoiding the topic completely. But, the reason I'm willing to kind of say, I don't know, and I've got a weird feeling is because I have no idea. When I think I'm at risk of leaking something, I just stay far away. That's my general policy. Abadaga is going to be the best mid lane choice here in terms of likelihood to score a lot of points, just because 100 Thieves are going to win. But, Tukui could be a good pick. Fudge, maybe Cloud9 come out really well, and Fudge does well. So, I could run this, or I could run a C9 lineup and go with 4C9. If I didn't captain FBI... No, but I think hard-winning bot lane matchups and snowballing through the bot lane is 100 Thieves, and it is FBI and Huhi. I really want to focus on them, and even if I take a hit in a couple other roles, it's like the only thing that makes sense. Do I have enough to go for 5,400 and 100 Thieves as a team? I think this is what I got to do. Why so much faith in FlyQuest? Just because I write off TSM and Golden Guardians right off the bat just because of the rosters they're playing with and say, hey, would love to see you guys win, but I just don't think it's going to happen. And then it comes to FlyQuest and C9. I have this sense that Cloud9 are... They've got all this turmoil about who is their starting roster. I don't know if LS is in NA or not to be coaching them on in person. Like I kind of feel like Cloud9 are probably worrying more and putting more effort into their extended Korean boot camp and the players who are there rather than the players who are in NA right now. So I don't know. It's going to be Fudge's first competitive games in a new role. He always struggles when he's doing something new. Like he struggled when he first got promoted to OPL. He struggled when he, a little bit when he first got to Academy, not that much, but then got better in Academy. He struggled a lot in Lock-In when he first got there. He struggled really badly at MSI in his first international. I think his first mid games are going to be rough, which doesn't mean he's going to be bad overall over time. But that and the fact that it's not kind of who is intended to be there. And I think FlyQuest are going to try hard this way more than Cloud9 will. So that's kind of where I'm going. So it's that, plus, even if I think Cloud9 are a little bit favored over FlyQuest, going for FlyQuest here allows me to do more with the 100 Thieves players. And it's just like going to be a less often picked thing here, so the chances are better. So I'm going to go with that. There you go. You got it early. So I love seeing that green name in chat. That's fun. Pony Slay Station made my night. Tenacity is the most swole player in the LCS now that Acadian isn't on a main team. You're right. I should totally draft him just for that. I should check Pony Slay Station. Are you in the Oracle's Elixir Discord? Because you should make sure. You should make sure you join it if you're not. And link your YouTube account to your Discord account, and then you'll get a role. You'll get a role. Oh, okay. You're also subbed on Twitch. Well, there you go. You've already got a role, and you've got access to the. I'm sorry. Different usernames, different places. I probably know who you are already. I just don't know. But yeah. Hi, Bruno. Summer Grand Finals tiebreaker going to be an arm wrestling competition. You got to bring Hauntzer in for that, right? I think he's a pretty good candidate. You bring in Kangas as a ringer. If you guys don't know Kangas, you should. Here. Let me see if he has a good... Yeah, he has a tweet from just a couple hours ago. I assume I can put tweets in chat. There we go. Sign Kangas as a ringer. What team would win a team fight IRL? Kangas is a very good play-by-play caster. Team Liquid brings in Broxa, sure. Tukui, yeah, I wouldn't know how strong he is, but if you say he's ripped, then I'll believe you. Let's do like, before I wrap up here, we should do some kind of activity. Yeah, well, I mean, like, if you tell me, I'm going to take you at face value and you say that Tukui is ripped, because I don't know. But from what I've seen of pictures of him, I was like, I mean, if you say so. Why do you think FlyQuest went with Tukui? I mean, he won LFL MVP in spring. I'd say that's a pretty strong factor in his favor. Clearly, they believe in him, and they think he's really good. Pulling MVP winning talent out of ERLs, and especially a top ERL like LFL. And they obviously, I assume, scouted him a lot harder than I have. I've watched, half a dozen of his games. So I won't have nearly as informed of an opinion on him as they do. Excuse me. Kangas Khan, I like it. Trying to think of something to end off here a little bit interactively. This is Scotch whiskey, so yeah, Scotch. not drawing too much attention to it, you know. So everybody turn to the person on your left and say one thing that you're looking forward to in the year ahead. I was playing TFT, but then I just went into Q&A time and other things instead. I got 4th. I should have done better. Well, here, I don't know how much people are readers. I'm a big reader of fiction specifically. What's the most recent book you read? And I'll tell you about mine while you put yours in. I just finished Foundation's Edge by Isaac Asimov. You may already have known about the Foundation series, or you may have heard of it because of the Amazon Prime show, or sorry, Apple Plus show. Yeah, but yeah, I'd read Foundation quite a long time ago, the first couple of books of it, as well as one of the prequels. So there are 6 books in the Foundation series, technically. There's the original book, which is a collection of short stories, effectively, and then they kind of combined them into a novel. And then another one that comes after that, and basically there were 4 in a row, and then he went back and did 2 prequels beforehand. So I just finished Foundation's Edge, and yeah, loved it. I love Isaac Asimov so much. The way he weaves these very complex scenarios and mysteries and has you guessing till the end about, you know, what's really going on, and then he'll throw like a second curveball. It's like almost Agatha Christie-like. And I love really classic sci-fi a lot. It's my favorite genre. So, yeah, big fan. And now I can't wait to find Foundation on Earth, because I thought I just hadn't looked at it in a while. And I thought the one I'd been reading had been the last one. But now there is Foundation on Earth after, so I got to get my hands on that. I do not own it. Isaac Asimov made, his robot series is another big one, and has like, the 3 laws of robot kind. And one thing that's really fascinating about Asimov is that he has his robot series, he has his Foundation series, he's got tons and tons of other books, but you know, some of his other sci-fi stuff. Over time, he started making references in them to each other and turned them into one coherent universe. You know, with a little bit of inconsistency between them, because he didn't originally write them that way, but he created ultimately these connections between them and references between one another and stuff like that, and turned it into this one universe. That's really cool. So I'm a big fan of that. I read Truth by Terry Pratchett. Love Terry Pratchett. I've got, let me see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, I've got about 30, just over 30 of his books on that shelf over there. Terry Pratchett is amazing. Was amazing. I have not read any of the Expanse series. Watched a few episodes of the show. My wife wasn't too into it, so we moved on, but it seemed pretty interesting. Very gritty. The Martian is awesome, too. And the movie is really, really good. But the book is even better, of course. DraftKings, I mean, I think you can check it out yourself and learn a little bit more how it works there. The Way of Kings series. That sounds like fantasy. Is it fantasy? I have not heard of it. I'm not that up on, like, honestly, stuff from the past 20 years and what's really been popular. Like, the really super popular stuff. Like, oh, everybody knows about Hunger Games. Like, of course. Or, you know, is Harry Potter within the last 20 years? I think it started coming out about 20 years ago, so I'm being too broad, but I tend to go more for classics. Art of War. Yeah, at some point I want to go back to the first couple of Dune books. I remember really liking the first one, and then I remember as I went on the rest of them, I read them as a teenager, but as I went on the rest of them, they started to feel more and more pretentious. Like just an exercise in the author trying to convey his philosophy of the world and it not really holding up. That was kind of my impression of it, but maybe with time and perspective and age, I would interpret them differently, but I remember liking the first one a lot. Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep is amazing, and anything Philip K. Dick has done is amazing. Probably my favorite, though, is, what's the drugs one? The drugs one, there's probably more than one. The one that Keanu Reeves did a movie with. Give me a second. Of course. Scanner Darkly. This is my favorite. That's my Philip K. Dick favorite, but of course I do enter a stream of Electric Sheep as well. Way of Kings is Brandon Sanderson? Okay. Yeah, I haven't read anything by Brandon Sanderson. To be honest, I'm super snobby about fantasy, and I do not read very much of it. I have read Lord of the Rings all the way through 10 times, I think. I'm about a third of the way through Return of the King, reading it to my two oldest sons. I have been for a year and a half. We get very slow progress through it, of course. 85% of the fantasy I read feels like somebody writing Lord of the Rings fan fiction. Even if they're really good writers and they're doing a really good job, it's just like, oh, why don't I just go read Lord of the Rings again or the Silmarillion or something? Like, I don't know. And that's me being mega super snobby. I've really liked other fantasy that I liked, obviously Terry Pratchett, but that's completely different, right? It's fantasy, but it's something. It's Terry Pratchett, right? It's own category. What's the other shit? Name of the Wind. That series is really good though, and I'm sure there's lots of other good fantasy out there, but I've just had a real struggle. Yeah, the Patrick Rothfuss stuff. Am I excited for the Lord of the Rings Amazon show? I don't think it needed to be made. If it's good, great. If it's not, I'll just pretend it doesn't exist. Yeah. And the thing about the Name of the Wind series is, so I said there are 2 books, and then there's like the kind of the side novel which I picked up recently and haven't read yet. The 3rd book, obviously it's taken forever to come out and it's still not out yet, and they keep saying, you keep getting little hints now and then that it's supposed to come out. He really needs to nail it, or I'm going to feel like he wasted a huge, awesome setup. Name of the Wind, to me, is purely about storytelling, right? The main character, and I'll try not to have spoilers in this, but the main character is a bard, effectively. He's many other things, but he's a bard. And he's telling his own story. And he tells his own story. The best thing about the Name of the Wind series is the writing, how well the story is told, how compelling the narrative is, how, like the series of events, the way the characters come across, the suspense, the pacing. That is the best thing about it. And there are many good things about it, but the best thing is the storytelling itself, rather than the content of the story. Not to take anything away from the content of the story. And both, as me, the reader, and the actual physical book, but also the character inside the book and him telling about himself to, the kind of surrogate audience character in the book. If the 3rd book doesn't acknowledge that and show that it's conscious of the fact that this entire thing all along the way has been a character telling his own story, not an objective view of facts. Like if he treats it as an objective view of facts and it needs to wrap everything up neatly and tidily, with full internal consistency and all that, I think it's going to fall on its face. But if it leans into the fact that this is a character telling his own story, maybe he's a little bit of an unreliable narrator, he's been embroidering everything, he's been setting himself up as his own hero, and if it goes that direction with it and it's really, that's the much more difficult story to end. But if he does it that way, it could be amazing and end up being one of my favorite series. But I think there's probably the fact that he's taken so long to finish it probably indicates to me that he's trying to do that the right way to do it and understands what he's been doing all along. So I'm hopeful. Have I read much Ray Bradbury? Yes. Speaking of great writing and amazing ideas, and let me grab a couple of my favorites. Okay. So obviously Ray Bradbury does, you know, Golden Age of sci-fi classic stuff and traveling to space and all that kind of stuff, Martian Chronicles. But I really like this one, Something Wicked This Way Comes. It's not really a sci-fi, it kind of is, but it's about like strange things are happening around kind of a traveling circus. That was really good. And probably my favorite, Dandelion Wine, which is about a summer in the life of a small U.S. town, you know, in the 40s, 50s, whenever it is. And it's so subtle, and it's just incredible. I don't know, I can't even really get into it. Fahrenheit 451 is good too. Books burn at a temperature of 1984 degrees Fahrenheit. No, that's a different book entirely. I like that. That's good. How about those 2 upsets today? Yeah, it was a big deal. In amateur, right? David Mitchell. I have not heard of him, but again, I'm not necessarily up on current stuff here. I'll grab some stuff from an author who is more current and also goes back a ways, who I've really been liking. Yeah, I know, right? Like Ray Bradbury is. I mean, it's all poetry. It's all just so good. Here's something from my favorite current sci-fi author, I would say, which is Kim Stanley Robinson. So I read this pretty recently. I also read his California trilogy, which is one of the first things he did. You probably will have heard of him, if you've heard of him at all, from the Red Mars, Green Mars, Blue Mars trilogy, which are the first things I read by him. But he had just really fascinating ideas and really intense social commentary and insight. So this one, New York 2140, is about a future in which, like, climate disaster has happened. Huge parts of the world are flooded. New York is mostly underwater. And just the convolutions and experiences people go through trying to turn that around after the fact. So, Day of the Triffids. That sounds more like a 60s, 70s era. I'll try to keep that in mind. Read Fahrenheit 451 in freshman year and was the only one who liked it. Yeah, no, that's sometimes the experience of these things. Like I said, I'm very heavy on classics. You know, Charles Dickens and like Victorian era stuff. Jane Austen. Jane Austen is amazing. I don't really read manga. I used to watch some anime, but I haven't in a while. Like I as a teenager, I got into DBZ and then I watched Naruto and some other things. How many splits an academy is a player owed, or do they deserve before moving on to another prospect is correct? I think it's entirely contextual, right? Like if you've got a player that you really believe in and they have and you think they're going to be amazing, but then they're like mid-range for us, I think you give them a full year. In almost every case, I think academy level, you want to get a full year in. But 2 years, no. Moving on from a player after one split, I think feels drastic to me in most cases, but it's valid sometimes. But it depends. Like, it kind of depends on who the prospect is behind them, but less so, and more on how far above or below expectations are they performing, right? Wuthering Heights is good too, yeah. I don't know if Kafka is fun. So I have Brothers Karamazov, but I haven't read it yet. Leo Tolstoy stuff like War and Peace and Anna Karenina. I really enjoyed those. Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective board game. That's interesting. If the takeaway of Metamorphosis is what if a guy randomly turned into a cockroach, you gotta read a little deeper. It warrants slightly more interpretation than that. What's your opinion on that just roll swap if you're academy or amateur mid push that's out there? Okay, so there's a serious part of this. The mean spirit, you're getting what you deserve if you don't mindset. Is that something? I don't know if I'm actually hearing that. It doesn't make sense to me. Like, I don't think Bradley needed a roll swap, for example. I can understand why he did, and I hope it works out. But no, I don't think it makes any. I don't think there's a need to like give up as a mid laner because you're never going to make it. That's one of the things that I'm hoping Jojo Pion helps to turn the narrative around on that you can be. I mean, and Palafox as well. I think he's doing fine. Blaze Olive is turning that narrative. Like, that narrative makes no sense to me that NA mid laners can't succeed in the LCS because they're just going to get replaced by imports. I don't buy into that whatsoever. And if that is a narrative that is really out there in the community more, which I may just not be hearing or picking up on, then I need to push back against it more. That Sherlock Holmes board game does sound interesting. You should drop a link in gaming or something in the gaming channel on the Oracle's Elixir Discord. Maybe easier to check it out. Sounds like more of a cooperative thing, which could be fun. So, if it wasn't for a Blaze Olive and to a slightly lesser extent Palafox, I would say there is a risk, Papa, that Jojo could be, like you're saying, the exception that proves the rule. But I think there are other players who, like, you don't have to be a top 3 mid in the league or whatever to prove that it's useful to be a domestic talent in your role. I think being 6th, 7th, 8th is fine, but if you can stick for a long enough time and also get better over time and not just like sit there and languish. But yeah, I hear you for sure on that. And like, Sniper might end up doing the same thing, because top lane right now, it seems like it is relatively in a bit of a rut for the talent pipeline, but Sniper comes along, maybe he blows everyone away. But it doesn't mean there are 3 more people like him, right? So yeah, I hear you. There's an argument to be made that some NA mids got overlooked for some imports like last season and Demonte at the beginning of the season. Yeah, but I don't think that's because they're NA mids as a category. I think it's individual player circumstances and individual team circumstances. Like, I don't think 100 Thieves overlooked Demonte. I think they tried him, unless I'm just forgetting how this all went, and said this isn't working and looked at an alternative, and it wasn't because he was NA. It's because he wasn't playing well enough, right? What was my favorite miracle run in LoL history? Cloud9 in the Gauntlet? Was that the one with High Jungle? Am I thinking of the right one? I think that's a pretty good one. Oh, and there's the link in Discord. Cool, I'll check it out. Well, I should probably wrap up and get to bed. Pobelter and Hyde, the only NA mids who have won LCS. Maybe? I don't know. How many Chinese mids have won Worlds? Clutch Gaming 2019. That was a good year. A good run. Okay, I should wrap up. I should head to bed. I gotta pick a new book to start reading since I did just finish my last one. But thanks for hanging out. I think doing this on YouTube is definitely a little different than doing it on Twitch. We'll see whether it sticks or not. I won't stream to both at the same time, even though it might technically be possible, but I think that'd just be too confusing. Yeah, Bjergsen is NA, so that doesn't count. But you know the spirit of the question, right? Anyways, thank you for Pony Slay Station for adding a channel membership. And to all of you for chatting and helping me pick the Tim 5 head emote to add. Get a few more members, I'll add more. And make sure that you use those in the comments on the videos. All right, lock in tomorrow. There will be so much more to talk about soon. So thanks again. See you soon.